welcome to the 12th episode of
J&J Show.
The J&J podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, and everywhere else. My name is John Madigan.
And I'm Joe Vassallo.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to us every single week. We've broken over 500 downloads so far. You know, so we're totally getting places. And before we start our normal show, we like to thank the listeners, really. And
yes, one particular listener, a special fan of ours, named Joseph Carrot in New Jersey.
Yes, Joseph Carrick in New Jersey. He's 11 years old, and he listens weekly to us. And so we can't be more appreciative for Joseph for tuning into the J&J podcast every week. And we wanted to give him this special little shout out we had here. And also, we'd like to send Joseph a signed autographed photo from the two of us in the mail. So, Joseph, if you're listening, which I hope you are, you'll be getting that in the mail shortly.
Yes, you will. We love you, man. And we love all you other fans, too.
Yeah, you know, thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening. Surely it means a lot to us.
Just because we give out the one shout-out does not mean we don't love the other 499 of you.
There you go. But so thank you again, Joseph, for tuning in and listening, and be on the lookout for that autograph photo. You'll be getting it within a few weeks. Joseph, how you doing? How was your day?
Good. It was really good. I'm feeling a little sick today and yesterday and the day before, but I'm good.
Oh, you look it too. Yeah, my day is not too bad. In fact, I do have a special announcement I'm going to announce later. But Joe, what did you have for lunch today?
I had mashed potatoes and yogurt.
Well, that's an odd combination.
I'm on a diet. So far, I've lost 25 pounds.
Hey, bravo.
Yeah.
Congratulations, my friend.
And so I'm only 15 pounds more away from my goal.
And do you want to talk about what your goal is and why? And
my immediate goal is 230, but my overall goal is 210. And I started 4 weeks ago at 275.
Oh man, that's great, man. Dude, congratulations, man. Honestly, that's great. That's I'm proud of you. That's great, man. And I can't wait for you to come down to Staten Island so we can gain it all back.
No, we will not be gaining it all back, but I will be having some Italian food when I come down. Are you coming up for my graduation?
I don't know. We got to talk about that. We got to see if maybe we can make that work. I don't know if I'm coming up or not.
That would be great. Fans, why don't you email us and tell us what you think about a live J&J graduation podcast? There
you go. But yeah, I had KFC for lunch. It was kind of
God, why?
I had to get something like really quick because I had to head back to school regarding a project for my sign language class. So I really had to just get like whatever was close by and fast. So I just drove to the mall, got KFC, and left. You know,
well, there's so much, dude. McDonald's is better than KFC.
McDonald's is further away.
Oh my gosh, KFC's gross, bro.
Honestly, I just needed something fast. Honestly.
You go to CSI, get cafeteria food there. It can't be any worse for you than KFC.
Cash only. Cash only, or you can put on your Dolphin card, like your college ID card. But you have to put a minimum of $30 on. And I'm like, do I really want to devote $30, right now to buy a $6 lunch? It's like, no.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, so I just had to get somewhere close. It wasn't that bad. It's hot. It's hot and it's a little spicy, and I like it.
Yeah. I think it's really gross, I'll be honest with you. I've had it before. I think it's nasty.
All right, fair enough. But I want to get into a few things today. I want to kind of talk about this episode of the podcast is going to be just a little shorter because Joe's not feeling 100%. So we may step away from our original format just a little bit. I kind of want to talk about like the future of the podcast, other projects we may be venturing into, stuff of that nature.
We're venturing into more projects. John, I'm sick for 1 week and you're already venturing in places without my counsel. Fans, I had no idea about this.
Well, I did tell you. Now we sent an application in, It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But
Now wait a second. John says it's not going to happen, but I'm the optimist one out of the two J's, right? And so I think it's going to happen. But keep going, John.
Let me explain. So every year, one of the biggest events that happen in New York is New York Comic Con, and it's so big to the point where the past 2 years we've gained more people to come to New York Comic Con than San Diego Comic Con, which was for the longest time the biggest Comic Con in the world. But now New York Comic Con is taking over as the biggest Comic Con in the world. And I decided, just as a joke, to send in an actual application for the J&J podcast to hold a live episode at Comic Con. They were looking for people to star in panels, and I said, you know what do we have to lose? And we sent in an application yesterday, and we'll be hearing back on that by August. So
yes. Now fans, listen, we've been doing this for what, 12 weeks? This is our 12th week.
This is our 12th week in a row. Yes,
third month, right? So think about it, fans. Okay, if we get 500 viewers every 3 months, then by August, we should have at least 1,000 viewers. We might become big enough. So share with your friends, share with your family, take it to your youth group, do whatever you need to do. If you're a teacher, play this as a lesson for your class. Just spread the word of the. Hey, Joseph, if you're listening, man, tell your classmates about us. Like, spread the word. Get us on Comic-Con, man. We love you guys.
Yeah. So we sent in an application for us to have the J&J podcast live as a panel at Comic-Con that anybody with a Comic-Con ticket can come into. Tickets for Comic-Con are relatively cheap. For 3 days, it's only $60, which is great for the amount of content you get and the amount of stars you get to meet. And it's really crazy. You know, for $60 for 3 whole days is really not a bad price. And so we would love, I don't think either one of us have an actual clue on what we'd actually go on stage and talk about, but it would be really interesting if they happen to say yes. If on the subtle off chance that they're like, yeah, we're going to give these guys a shot. That would be insanely amazing. And we would love for the challenge. We would love to just talk to people live on stage. And I had a few ideas of like how we can like come out and everything. And it would be really interesting. But we did send in an application for that to happen, you know? So who knows?
Hey, John, have you heard about the Killing Joke?
The Killing Joke?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, you haven't heard about it. See, if we went to Comic-Con, I know that's exactly what I would talk about is the Killing Joke. It's the origins of Joker. And it's coming out. It's called The Killing Joke. It's a movie. It's coming out.
Oh, yeah. So, I think I have heard about this.
Right. It looks really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about comic books and superhero movies and our friendship and probably
to our fans, right? Just so our fans understand, out of the two of us, I'm the comic book guy. Even though John likes to buy comic books.
I just started getting into comic books.
Right. But out of the two of us, I think it's fair to say that I'm the comic book guy. Like, you're the tech guy and I'm the comic book guy.
Okay, all right. But so we sent in the application and we're hoping that goes through. I mean, I personally don't think it will because it's New York Comic Con. They only get the best of the best. Maybe in a few years. Maybe in a few years when we get like huge. But hey, look, we're putting the name out there, we're throwing our hat in the ring. Why not? Let's
a good underdog.
Joe, is there anything anything you're venturing into that you want to talk about? Anything new that you're kind of venturing into, want to talk about and whatnot?
I don't know about anything new. I've come to a new irritation in life with certain things.
Really?
And the older I get, at my 21-year-oldness, the more agitating I find certain things, and the less agitating I find things that I used to think were agitating. Right, and so I feel like whether you're Christian or you're Muslim or you're Buddhist or whatever, you can kind of relate to what I'm about to say. or even if you're just like, if you're a tech savvy person or a comic book guy or whatever, you can relate to what I'm about to talk about, okay? So, John, can I ask you a question?
Sure, Joe.
Have you ever met somebody who says that they're something and they're just not that something, and it really bothers you?
Well, like you try to tell me you're cool, and I don't think you're cool at all.
No. More specific. Something that can't be opinionated. Right?
There are some people that I absolutely cannot stand, and they've said things to me, and I don't want to say any names, but there's definitely quite a few people who I hate, and I really don't want to talk to ever again. That I absolutely hate.
See, I have this friend, and I'm not going to name names. You don't know them. I'll tell you that. But they do live
Joe,
on
do I?
island. What?
I know them. Do I know them?
I would tell
I
you.
don't.
Know them. You don't.
Okay.
You don't. If you did, it's only by knowing them very briefly in passing.
I see, like through you.
Right. But I don't think you know them. But like, okay. So this person is like, oh yeah, like I'm a Christian, and I'm gonna go to church on Sunday, and I'm gonna be like, oh look at me, I'm all Christian and all that stuff, right? And guess what? Guess what this person does?
I'm assuming they're not a Christian and they're not a good person, and
they flushed every Christian ideal down the toilet. And you know what? They didn't just flush every Christian ideal down the toilet, but they posted about it on Facebook. And it pissed me off. It made me really angry, I'm not going to lie. And it's something that happens a lot. We do have a very close mutual friend who will remain nameless, who's done many times in the past what I'm describing, but that's not this person that I'm thinking of. And it just makes me mad. It's like, be what you call yourself to be. If you're going to be an atheist, then be an atheist. But don't pretend to be an atheist. If you're going to be a Buddhist, be a Buddhist. But don't pretend to be a Buddhist. I remember once I was talking to this girl, right? And she was like, I'm a Buddhist. And I was like, really? Do you know what the sutras say? Now, John, I've happened to study Buddhism. I spent an entire semester studying it. That doesn't make me an expert, but it just means I know enough about it to engage in conversation. You understand what I mean?
Okay.
And she said, my belief system is this. And I was like, well, the sutras, which it's the Buddhist version of the Bible, says this, this, and this. And she was like, well, I'm a cultural Buddhist. And I was like, no, you're an atheist who wants to pretend that they're Buddhist. Shut your mouth.
I feel like these are things that you can only relate to. I kind of feel like people who are listening to this show right now, everyone's going to be like, I have no clue what this kid's talking about.
Okay, fine. How about this? The one guy who pretends to be gangster and he's not gangster.
That was me for many years.
That was John. We all know that one person, okay? We all know that one person who pretends to be something and they're just not. John, I'm sorry. I love you, but you're not Eminem, and you'll never be Eminem.
No. I'm saying I used to think I was like a thug. Like it was bad. Like oh my God, it was so. I was walking around with bandanas in my back pocket. Like it was really bad, and I have pictures that nobody will ever see. Hopefully, but I was that guy at a point, and thankfully, I have definitely changed my ways, and I realize I am much cooler than that person. So
I have a friend, and I love him to death, and you know him a little bit. You don't know him very well, but you know him enough. And he pretends to be gangster, and he's like, I'm all about that thug life, right? And he's like so not, and it's very funny when you talk to him, and it's just hilarious because he's 13, and he's like, and he listens to the podcast. I'm not gonna. He's a friend on Facebook, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm about that thug life, and he's just really funny. Like,
I mean, I don't think I know who this person is. You're saying 13. I mean, Joe, I'm sorry. I don't talk to 13-year-olds, but
he commented on the podcast once. Like, he commented on the podcast page a few times.
Oh.
What do you want to dive into? I've gotten one of my rants off. I have another rant.
Speaking about Spotlight, a priest in Staten Island just got arrested for child pornography.
Well, Catholic priest.
I'm not
horribly surprised.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. We're like, oh, that's normal news. But Joe, did you happen to see Spotlight, the movie? Just won Best Picture at the
I know
Academy
what it's
Awards.
about, but I haven't seen it.
I have to say, it was insanely good. Definitely a top-notch film. And you know who's in it? The Hulk, Mark Ruffalo.
Okay.
He's in it, and obviously it's nothing graphic. It's nothing. For those of you who are listening and don't know, this is about the Boston newspaper that truly exposed the Catholic Church for molesting, for priests molesting children. Their story kind of set the record straight, and made it this whole thing. So nothing graphic. Obviously, you don't see anything. This really has to do with the journalism side of it. You don't see any molestation. You don't see any kids. For lack of better words, you don't see any children getting harmed. Nothing like that. Joseph, stop coughing. Now,
sorry, I told you I wasn't feeling well.
It was a very well put out film, though. Joseph, as a member of, as a person who truly believes in the Lord, I think it's a film you should watch.
Well, and just to be clear, I believe in the Lord, but I'm actually an ex-Catholic. Out of the two of us, John, you're the only official practice Catholic on this podcast. Now, that doesn't mean that I still don't probably know more about your own religion than you do, because I used to be Catholic and I've read the Catholic.
Because you're crazy. There is one thing I want to say about venturing into projects. Joe, you don't even know this. Believe it or not, I might be working on a new project, on a new podcast.
Whoa!
I might be
Wait a second now. This is not Joe approved.
Wait. You haven't even... Let me just say this. First of all, nothing's confirmed. Second of all, nothing would happen to the J&J podcast. I would still be here every week doing the J&J podcast. I had an idea, though, for a second podcast to do. And that's where it would be me and like 4 or 5 other comedians who would sit around my living room and, talk about stories and whatnot, but since it's all comedians, everything will be really funny. And every week the comedians...
I just want to interrupt you because you used the word, and I have to point it out to the fans, the listeners. You said 5 or 6 other comedians. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we were just talking about wannabes. And this is example A. Okay, John, you are not a comedian, all right?
I will be the first person to say I am not a comedian. Okay. Now, I am writing a stand-up comedy set that I would like to do at the open mic at the Looney Bin in Staten Island. I am putting together a set, and I would like to do that. I would like to truly venture into comedy, honestly. Just doing stand-up shows from time to time. I don't know how full force it is, but it's something I would like to at least pursue just a little bit.
Now, John, I have an honest question for you.
Okay.
How would you feel about a J&J comedy stand-up?
I kind of feel like I would be too offensive and you would be too religious.
But see, that's what makes us great. See, the fans already know that. Like, be honest with us, J&J podcast fans. John's offensive, I'm religious, and it's what makes our podcast good. If we were just...
Right. But I kind of feel like an audience wouldn't... Like, I would say, it would be like me saying something really offensive and you saying, whoa, that's not Joe approved. And then I'll say another joke. Dude, you're not allowed to say that, man.
I don't know.
Oh, man, dude, can you edit that out?
Make it work.
I mean, it's something if you wanted to seriously sit down and write something out with me, then maybe it's something we can work on, and then when you come down this summer, we can do at the Looney Bin. But I mean,
I feel like, John, I'll be honest with you, I feel like, most of our comedy gold, and over the years, we have had some legitimate comedy gold, and a lot of it is not scripted or written.
None of this is scripted and I'll say like, behind the scenes, Joseph and I, we do come out with some sort of a structure. Okay, first we want to talk about this. Second of all, we want to talk about this. We want to do this. I would say it's structured for the most part, but none of this is scripted. We're having a live conversation right now,
right?
And that's it. There's no script at all.
Right.
Because
Exactly. And so I feel like if we can get 500 listeners based off of that, imagine what we could do when we're trying to be funny.
I mean, it would be something I would be open to working on with you if that's something you wanted to do. I think you just want to be on my new comedy podcast. But
no, I really don't, John. The last thing that I want to do is sit down with 5 or 6 Staten Islanders, okay, and talk about anything.
Here's the thing. I just want a podcast where I feel like I can say whatever I want. I feel like I'm very censored on this show. And I want to be able to, if I want to tell a certain type of joke, I want to feel like I can do that. But if you look in the news today, I read a headline, and this is not a joke. Taylor Swift will be receiving the very first Taylor Swift award. Joe, did you hear about that?
Wow, I'm shocked that a person... Yeah. I'm shocked. I don't know what's worse, the fact that it has Taylor Swift in it or the fact that we have a Taylor Swift award.
Well, I don't think Taylor Swift's a bad person. I don't think...
John, you don't think anyone's a bad person?
No, Hitler was a bad person, for the most part. Look, nobody's perfect, but, But at the BMI Pop Awards, I'm assuming that's... I don't know where that is. But I never actually heard of it. But Taylor Swift will be receiving the first ever Taylor Swift Award. So congratulations, Taylor Swift.
I feel like you really earned it. You really earned it, Taylor Swift, by being you.
Honestly, everything I've read about Taylor Swift, though, is really good. She consistently donates to charity. Her music is, really good. She just seems like one of those genuine, nice people. Everybody who comes in contact with her, with the exception of Kanye West, of course, had said nothing but positive things about her. I really don't have a problem with Taylor Swift, honestly. But in a more detailed story, and this is something my brother would do, minus the vaping. Vaping congressman, I'm saying this would be my brother minus the vaping.
Oh, okay.
Vaping congressman accused of using campaign funds on $1,300 worth of Steam games. U.S. Representative Duke and Hunter is under fire. For spending campaign money on Steam games on more than 60 occasions. So I guess he bought over 60. So there were 68 separate occasions where he spent campaign money on Steam. For those of you who don't know, Steam is like the premier platform for buying PC video games. But that's something my brother would do if... I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
I think that your brother... No, I'm not going to say that about your brother. I think that there are worse things to spend money on as a politician than video games. And I think that they probably last a lot longer than hookers, so he's better than Bill Clinton.
That's true. That's true. But I wouldn't say... as a congressman, this is something he should be spending. I think the bigger part about this is the fact that he's spending campaign funds on $1,300 worth of Steam games.
Yeah. How much money? Out of curiosity, say that again.
$1,300, $1,300 just on video games.
How much Steam games can you buy?
68 apparently.
Wow, they are really high priced.
Sometimes they have really good sales. Like they'll have good sales for literally $2 or $3 a game on Steam, honestly. But yeah, so $1,300. All of it's from his campaign on Steam funds. And by the way, he vapes like crazy apparently. So this guy is just kind of a mess. He's kind of all over the place. And so, yeah, that's your headline for that. Joe, do you have anything else you want to know?
I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you know.
Know about what?
Heath Ledger. His birthday just passed.
I did hear something about that. Happy birthday, Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
You will always remain You will always remain the best Joker.
Yes. And ever since you've died, we know why we are so serious. We miss you.
Honestly, he did a great job.
He really did. We miss you, Heath Ledger. I don't know if you're in heaven, but if you are, it's a funnier place because of it.
I mean, he died because of an accidental overdose on sleeping pills. That's just horrible.
Yeah.
But I did want to make a pretty big announcement on this podcast for something pretty cool that happened to me yesterday. Joe, I purposely didn't tell you about this big announcement so you can tell me how much of a loser I am live on the podcast from an initial reaction. But Joe, are you ready for this big announcement I have about me?
Yes, I'm listening.
So yesterday, MTV called me and let me know that the TV show I was on last year, Video Love, just got picked up for a second season, and they want me a part of it again this year.
One more time.
I was on a TV show last year called Video Love, and it aired in 119 different countries. Did not air in the U.S., but aired in 119 different countries, and I was on for the season. And I did that, and that was it. And then yesterday, I got the call from MTV letting me know that they picked it up for a second season, and they want me a part of it.
Wait, John, it's MTV, so you kind of just lose all my respect right there.
But what? MTV is still a very popular network amongst people.
John, it's MTV. You don't need a lot of talent to get on there.
I think not just anyone can get on MTV. I get on TV in general. I mean, give me a little bit of credit, bro.
I was on TV, John.
What were you on TV for?
I was on a commercial.
That's right. You were in a Modell's commercial when you were a little kid.
Somewhere in the annals of the internet, there is in fact a commercial starring your very own co-host Joe Vasala.
I will personally spend $100 on anybody that can send me that video clip because I've been friends with this kid for over 8 years and I have not seen this damn commercial. But I really would.
It is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my entire life, and I was in it. And it just shows you don't need much to be on TV.
Can you describe what you were doing in the commercial?
Yes, I was putting on and taking off hockey pads. That was the extent.
It was a commercial for hockey pads?
It was a commercial for, in general, for Modell's, like all the stuff. And it just so happened to be hockey pads that they were showing off. And so it was stupid. Like, go to Modell's and you can get the best, like, sports equipment ever or something like that.
Now, like, what year would you say this was in? Do you know? Like, how old were you?
I was between 4 and 7. So, like, what were we 10 years ago?
So what, like 2000 maybe? Was it 2000, 2001?
It would have had to be 2000. It would have had to have been before 9/11 because my dad became a cop after 9/11, and it was when he was working at Modell's.
Okay, so anybody that can find that Modell's commercial where Joe is with hockey pads set around the year 2000 or before, I will personally PayPal you $100 if you can find that for me.
He will.
I would really love to see that. But when was the last time you saw the commercial, Joe?
Probably when I was like 10 years old.
Your father has to have it.
I'm sure he does somewhere.
Now, did you make any royalties off of that? I would have think that they would, you would have like some money stashed away because of the commercial.
I'm pretty sure all of that went into my college fund, which then got blown on my first year of college.
Do you know how much approximately you made off of that?
Not a clue. I wouldn't. I was little, I wouldn't know, but I'm pretty sure it all went into my college fund.
All right. I mean, fair enough.
Really,
but Joe, what is
honesty, whether it got put, I'll put it to you like this: if I had spent it on video games at the time, it probably would have amounted to the same amount of usefulness in my life at my first year of college.
Fair enough. but for anybody who's in a bunch of different countries, it was Last season was like Greece, Asia, Serbia, Portugal, the Netherlands, so many places. Unfortunately, not the U.S. I'm hoping because I got picked up for season 2, and they gave me a lot more music videos to review and talk about. That it'll be airing in the U.S., but I have no clue. It would be really nice. But so over the next few weeks, I'll be filming that TV show. As well as doing the J&J podcast, of course, because I love doing this show. Honestly, it's gives me something to do every week, and I get to talk to my best friend for like an hour every week, And unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't happen because you get too busy.
Oh, me?
How many times, even to this day, do I call you and you're like, "Yeah, buddy, I gotta go. I can't talk."
Yo, I have a life, man.
I have a life too.
Not really.
I'm on a TV show. Damn it.
That means nothing to me, John. You got on MTV. Get on a real TV channel, and then we'll talk.
What do you consider a real TV channel?
No, not the History Channel, because it's not real history. Get on EWTN. Then you'll earn my respect.
EWTN. What is EWTN?
It's the Catholic Broadcast Network.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. They would let me on Catholic.
Lord's name in vain again. This is the second time today, John. Don't think that I won't shut down the podcast if you do.
This is why they won't let me on Catholic TV. There was no shot. There was literally no shot they would ever let someone like me on Catholic TV. Honestly, bud, can you picture me on something like that?
I could.
I would only go on Catholic TV to expose all the televangelists for stealing all those people's money.
2 different churches, John. 2 different churches. One is Catholic, one is Protestant.
Okay, well, whoever bought that jet, I swear to God, I'm gonna. There's a few people that went out and bought jets.
Yeah,
all those televangelists have to go. Robert Tilton. Oh my God,
did you hear about Mother Angelica?
Mother Angelica?
Yeah.
No, what's that?
Mother Angelica is a very famous nun, and she died this past weekend. Or not this past weekend, the weekend before last weekend.
I guess she didn't see that one coming.
Actually, she did. She was pretty ready. She was dying. She was old. She was ancient.
How old is Ancient Joe?
I'm pretty sure she was in her 90s.
Wow. Well, I know you like them old, Joe.
Now, John, out of the 2 of us, okay, who have had better luck with girls, okay?
Well, considering my relationships last a long time, and yours don't.
Okay, out of 3 or 4? Out of all your girlfriends, how many cheated on you? Oh yeah, all of them. All of them. So
that's getting cut.
Oh, you don't like it when I say things you don't want to hear. Oh, and what if I said I feel censored right now?
You are not as censored as I am. Believe me, buddy. We're doing all this because your school doesn't like it. Dear Jesus.
Hey, that's the 3rd time, John. I'm serious. If you do one more time, I'm done.
Oh, breaking news. Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders, the projected winners of the Wisconsin presidential primaries. Joe?
Yeah.
Joe, what are you doing? You're staying silent. What are you doing? What I hear you typing. What are you doing?
Hold on.
Buddy, what are you doing? What do you put me on hold? Joe, this is a live podcast. People are listening.
I know. That's the point, John. You want to use the Lord's name in vain, I start shutting down.
Joe, who are you talking to?
I'm talking to my girlfriend.
Okay, you can't tell her to wait?
I would, but she's oddly more interesting than you are.
She is not. Oh, dear Jesus.
Exactly.
Stop myself.
See, fans, this is the kind of friendship that me and John have had for the last 8 years. And
this is why Comic-Con should bring us.
It really is, though. We are actual, comedy gold.
But Joe, because you said you have to leave early again, what do you think we should name this podcast? MTV Video Love Season 2 coming soon?
No, I think that we should name this podcast When Best Friends Collide.
When Best Friends Collide?
Yes.
All right, When Best Friends Collide, J&J Podcast, episode number 12. Unless, Joe, is there anything else you want to talk about before we ended?
No, I had one more rant, but I'll save it for next week.
Oh, you can talk about it now.
No, it's cool, because I don't have enough time to expound on it the way I want to.
Alrighty. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Every week, Wednesday, we release a brand new episode of the podcast. Over 500 downloads. Hopefully, we get into New York Comic Con. We'll see you next week, guys.
Peace out, Cub Scout.
Peace out, Cub Scout. This is John Madigan.
And this is the J&J Podcast.
J&J Podcast. Peace out, Cub Scout.
Peace out, Cub Scout.